Okay, this is a question in which a particle, a ball is thrown from point P with a speed of 12 meters per second at an angle of 50 degrees. So this velocity will have two components, vertical and horizontal. Vertical component will be responsible for vertical motion and horizontal component will be responsible for horizontal motion. So what will be your horizontal velocity and what will be your vertical velocity? इसके दो component बनेंगे. 12 cos 50 will be the horizontal velocity and 12 sin 50 will be the vertical velocity. So जो distance horizontally वो move करेगा वो 7.7 मीटर पर सेकंड की रेफरेंस से मूव करेगा और जो vertical distance होगा that will be by reference of 9.2 meters per second. अब वो कहता है जी बताइएगा मैक्सिमम हाइट रीच निकालनी है. मैक्सिमम हाइट इज वर्टिकल मोशन. Your initial vertical velocity is 9.2. It is not 7.7. It is not 12. It is 9.2. Final vertical velocity will be 0 because it would reach the maximum height. And A will be taken as minus 9.81. So if we have this data and there is constant acceleration, we can use the formula V square minus U square is equal to 2AS. 0 minus 9.2 square is equal to 2 times minus 9.81 into S. S is your vertical height. So from here, vertical height comes out to be 4.3. What is the magnitude of displacement PQ? Now, this is not horizontal distance. This is not vertical distance. It is the shortest distance from P to Q. This is the distance, PQ. It can be calculated by Pythagoras theorem. We know the vertical height. If we know the horizontal distance, we can apply Pythagoras theorem. Now, how to find horizontal distance? R. It is calculated by multiplying horizontal velocity with time. We know the horizontal velocity, which is 7.7. How long will it take to travel from P to Q or the horizontal distance? That only depends on the time the object takes to reach the maximum height. जब वो मैक्सिमम हाइट पे पहुंचेगा उस वक्त ही ये हॉरिजॉन्टल डिस्टेंस भी ट्रेवल किया होगा उसने. So we have the same time when it reaches the maximum height or travel distance r. तो यहाँ पे मैं t निकालने के लिए v minus u over a इस्तेमाल करूंगा. I have the same data. U is 9.2, v is 0, a is 9.81. And from there, I get the value of t. Same time for the range r. So 7.7 into 0.94 will give you the value of r. So I have r equal to 7.2 and I have h equal to 4.3. I want to find out the shortest distance PQ, which is the displacement. So I will take the Pythagoras theorem, apply it, and using that, I can find out the value of displacement PQ. Again, a similar question to that we have done. But here first it asks us what is gravitational potential energy and what is kinetic energy. The gravitational potential energy is the energy possessed by a body due to the height in a gravitational field. Formula is mgh. Kinetic energy is the energy possessed by a body due to its motion. So K is equal to half mv square. B part, again similar sort of a question. वो कहता है जी ऑब्जेक्ट है उसको आपने थ्रो किया है with a velocity of 30 meters per second at an angle of 45 degrees. What is the initial kinetic energy? Initial kinetic energy depends on the value of initial velocity. It will be half mv square. M they have given us 400 grams and the velocity initial is 30. because that is the total velocity initially. Using that, I can find out the value of initial velocity. Now, they have told us that ball reaches the height at a time of 2.16 seconds. What is the maximum height reached? Again, the same process. We'll have initial vertical velocity, that is, v will be equal to initial vertical velocity will be 30 sine 45. If we have two components, 30 sine 45 and 30 cos 45. For vertical height, we'll be using vertical initial component. Final velocity will be 0. So we can use v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Simplify that and you will get the value of the maximum height reached. It comes out to be 23 meters. We are using the vertical component, initial vertical velocity as initial vertical component, and using that we can find out the value of maximum height reached because it is vertical motion that is being discussed here. Next part, gravitational potential energy, MGH. Maximum height reached is, we have just calculated it's 23. So apply MGH and you get the value as 90 joules. So initial kinetic energy was 180. The object has reached the maximum height. And in this case, the potential energy it has gained is only 90. Why not 180? Because at the maximum height, vertical velocity becomes 0, but the horizontal velocity is still there. So it will possess some kinetic energy at the maximum height. And that will be the difference between the total energy and the potential energy. That is 180 minus 90, so it becomes 90 joules. Here they have asked why kinetic energy at the ball maximum height is not 0. Generally, if you throw a ball vertically upwards, it stops at the maximum height. But this is not simple vertical motion, it's a projectile motion. In this case, at the maximum height, the object still possesses horizontal component of velocity 21.2. उससे भी हम kinetic energy निकाल सकते हैं. That will also be same. This can also be calculated like this, but I think this is the easier way. Total energy minus potential energy will give you the value of kinetic energy. Otherwise, you can use horizontal component velocity and use half mv square again. Vertical velocity is 0, but still possesses horizontal velocity. Therefore, kinetic energy is not 0 at the maximum height. This is a question of half projectile. What is velocity? Displacement per unit time or rate of change of displacement. Both are correct. Displacement per unit time or rate of change of displacement. Now observe, the object is thrown horizontally with the velocity v. This is its horizontal velocity. It is now moving vertically as well, 1.25 meters. And as it falls down, it is also moving horizontally. Only time will be common. So I know horizontal distance, but I do not know horizontal component velocity. I know vertical distance. So I can use vertical distance to determine the value of time. Because horizontal velocity is unknown, range or 0.5 is given to us. If I have the value of time, I can find out the value of horizontal velocity. It is the same initially and it will be same everywhere. Because horizontal velocity remains constant. So if I have the value of t, I can find out u horizontal. S is equal to half at square. It is moving vertically a distance of 1.25 meters. In the same time, it will be moving horizontally as well. So time is common. 1.25. Acceleration is 9.81. T square. And from here, the value of t comes out to be 0.504 or 51, 0.51. I can use it here and we can find out the value of horizontal velocity, which in this case comes out to be 3 meters per second. So the object has a horizontal velocity of 3 meters per second at the very beginning. The same velocity will be there at the point of impact with the floor. So this is half projectile. Okay, the next part, the velocity just as it hits the floor. Now remember, when it hitting the floor, it not only has horizontal velocity, but it will also have some vertical velocity, which we can calculate as v is equal to u plus at. Here it comes out to be 4.99 or 5. So we have two components. Horizontal velocity is 3, vertical velocity is 5, and the resultant velocity will be the value with which it is hitting the ground. So यहाँ पे I'll be applying Pythagoras theorem. My resultant velocity is 5.8 meter per second. They have asked us what is the angle to the horizontal. We have perpendicular, we have base. I can use tan theta. Perpendicular to the divided by the base is tan theta, and theta will be tan inverse of this value, which comes out to be 59 degrees for this case. What is the kinetic energy with which it hits the ground? Half mv square. We have calculated the value of velocity 5.8. That will be the kinetic energy because that's the total energy with which it is hitting. Otherwise, we can take kinetic energy में 3 से भी निकालेंगे, 5 से भी निकालेंगे, फिर ऐड कर लेंगे. But we know that the resultant velocity is 5.8, so we'll use that velocity here. Loss in potential energy, mgh. Explain why kinetic energy of the ball does not equal the loss in gravitational potential energy. Loss in potential energy is only 5.5, but gain in kinetic energy is greater. Why? Because when it started to fall, it already had some kinetic energy because of the horizontal component of the velocity. So that is why total energy is greater than loss in potential energy, because before the fall, it already possessed some kinetic energy because of the horizontal component of the velocity. Okay, again, this is a half projectile. Distinguish between scalars and vectors. Scalar quantities have magnitude, whereas vector quantities have magnitude as well as direction. Underline all the scalars. It is kinetic energy, mass, and power. Weight is a vector, force is a vector, acceleration is a vector. Now we have an object, now it is thrown with a speed of 20 meters per second. Vertical displacement is 15 meters. How long will it take to fall 15 meters? Here I will be using S is equal to half at square because initial vertical velocity is 0. It has initial horizontal velocity which will remain constant. So I will be using S as 15 divided by 9.81 t square, and from there I can find out the value of t. Calculate the magnitude of resultant velocity. Resultant velocity means it will not only have horizontal velocity, but it would have gained some vertical velocity as well. So we have to find the value of vertical velocity. V is equal to u plus at. 9.81 into 1.7. So you get it is equal to 17 meters per second. So it has two components. Horizontal velocity is 20, vertical is 17. And we want to find out the resultant velocity, which can be calculated by Pythagoras theorem. Describe the difference between the displacement of the stone and the distance that it travels. अब नोट कीजिएगा जो एक्चुअल यहाँ पे कर्व दिखाया गया है, दिस इज द एक्चुअल डिस्टेंस it has traveled. When we talk about displacement, it is the shortest distance. This will be your displacement represented by the red line. How to explain that? Shortest distance between the starting and the end point is displacement, whereas the actual path taken by the stone is the distance traveled. We can calculate the displacement and the displacement in this case by vertical and horizontal distance, but they have not asked for that. So we are not calculating the displacement. It says that a velocity time graph is given to you. Initial velocity is u, final velocity is v, and t is your time taken for this change in velocity. You have to find the area under the graph, and if you observe, this area will be a trapezium. Half sum of parallel sides into height. U plus v is your parallel sides, and t is the height of this trapezium. What does this represent? It represents the distance covered by the object or the displacement. Now again we have a question in which an object is thrown with a speed of 15 meters per second with an angle of 60 degrees, and there's a vertical wall. It goes and hit the vertical wall at the maximum height. Time to reach maximum height. So we will have to find the two components of velocity, 15 sine 60 and 15 cos 60. Vertical height will be responsible by the vertical component, which is 15 sine 60. Final velocity will be 0. Acceleration will be minus 9.81. So t will be equal to v minus u over a. Just 1 second. We use this formula, and my answer comes out to be 1.3. Explain why the horizontal component velocity of the ball remains constant as it moves to the wall. We had said that horizontal velocity remains constant. Why? Because the force is only acting vertically, and we are neglecting a resistance as well. So there is no force in the horizontal direction. Therefore, velocity remains constant. There is no force along the horizontal direction, and also we have assumed that air resistance is also negligible. Show that the ball strikes the wall with a horizontal velocity of 7.5. It is the same velocity which was initial velocity in the horizontal direction, that is 15 cos 60. And it is the same velocity with which it will hit the wall. C part. अब हमें ये मालूम है कि it hits the wall with a speed of 7.5 and rebounds by 4.3 meters per second. Hitting by 7.5 and rebounding by 4.3, change of momentum is mu minus mv. 0.4 and 7.5 minus 4.3 is a negative velocity because it is moving towards left. Minus and minus multiply होके plus हो जाएगा. So we get change momentum equal to 4.7 kg per meter per second. Average force is rate of change of momentum. Change momentum 4.7 in a time interval of 0.12. Divide it and you will get the value of the force with which the ball hits the ball and exerts on it. Okay, one more question. Again, it is sort of a projectile motion in which a stone is thrown vertically upwards. It goes to a maximum height and then falls back, not on the same position, but below that position. It is something like this. It starts from a ground, goes to a maximum height, and then again it falls down and hits the place which is below that up to 3 seconds. So from the graph, I can see that it reaches the maximum height at 1.25 seconds. At that instant, velocity will be zero. From 1.25 seconds, it goes down to the floor and below that to 3 seconds. So it reaches the lowest point at 3 seconds, but it will be at the same level of 2.5 at 2.5 seconds. So I just draw that. Just give me 1 second. Okay, it is there. Okay, just 1 second. Okay. तो जहां से हमने थ्रो किया था वहां से वो मैक्सिमम हाइट पे जाएगा, फिर वहां से फॉल करेगा। जब वापस उसी जगह पे आ रहा है, द टाइम विल बी 2.5 seconds एंड देन इट इज गोइंग डाउन। हाउ टू एक्सप्लेन द स्पीड? It goes with the maximum speed, reduces to zero at 1.25 seconds, then it starts to fall down in the opposite direction and the speed continuously increases. The object is thrown vertically upward with maximum speed, then the speed decreases to zero at 1.25 seconds. Again, speed increases with constant acceleration, and this time it is in the opposite direction until 3 seconds. अब वो कहते हैं what is the speed of the ball after 3 seconds? Acceleration due to gravity. Initial velocity is 0. What will be the velocity at 3 seconds? Now, in this case, the time interval is from 1.25 to 3 seconds. So, first of all, we have to see the time interval. If we have divided into these parts, the first it goes up, stops, and then falls down. The time interval will be 3 minus 1.25. This is our time interval. And from there, we can find out the value of V as 17.2. Just give me 1 second. I think time interval मैं जरा इसको separate कर देता हूँ. This is the time interval. ये मैंने यूज किया है. So from there, I can find out the value of speed by simply applying the concept of motion under gravity. Okay. Distance traveled in 3 seconds. Again, I will have to divide it. I have to find the value of D1. I have to find the value of D2. And it will be D1 plus D2. Now, D2 will be same from starting point to the maximum height or from maximum height to the same position. So D2 will be same in this case. I can find out D1 by this principle that I have initial velocity as 0 and time is 3 minus 1.25. S is equal to half AT square is the formula that I am using in this case. So D1 will be from highest to the lowest. And D2 will be from highest to a time of 2.5, that is after time interval of 1.25 seconds. Because this is the time at the highest point was 1.25 seconds. So 1.25 से 2.5 तक जो ट्रेवल करेगा वो डिस्टेंस v2 कहलाएगा. So total distance, add them up. Total displacement. Now actual displacement is from the starting point to end point. This displacement will be d1 minus d2. This will be your displacement and it will be downwards. Then they ask us to draw a velocity type graph. It is a straight line. सिर्फ हमें यहाँ पे ये देखना है कि हमारी जो velocity जीरो हो रही है वो 1.25 पे हो रही है and it should be passing from there. Otherwise, it should be a straight line. इसमें हमें वैल्यू पुट करने की जरूरत नहीं, सिर्फ हमने ये कंसिडर करना है that it should be passing from origin at 1.25 seconds. Okay, next question. Again, we are throwing the object 15 meters per second with the speed of 60 degrees. It goes and hits the wall at the highest point and then rebounds. But rebounds with less distance. So first of all, they have asked us what is the horizontal and vertical components. It will be u cos theta and u sin theta. This is your horizontal component. This is your vertical component. Maximum height gained. Initial velocity 13 because that is your initial vertical component. Final velocity will be 0 and acceleration will be minus 9.81. Use the formula v square minus u square is equal to as. If we simplify, we can find out the value of maximum height gain. Then they ask us how much time will it take. In this case, the horizontal velocity will be 7.5 because whatever is the velocity initially horizontally, it will be hitting the wall with the same speed. Time, v minus u over a. The time will be 1.33 seconds. अब वो कहता है कि find the rebound velocity. It is hitting the wall with a speed of 7.5 meters per second and the distance it has traveled horizontally is because of this velocity. But when it rebounds, it travels less distance. Time will be same. Because जितनी देर में वो ऊपर गया है उतनी ही देर में वापस आएगा वो. The time is same. It means that its horizontal velocity has reduced. So what will be that horizontal velocity? Now the distance horizontally it moves is 6.15. Time will be 1.33. Time will be same. So in this case, I will take, initially time was 1.33. Here also the time will be 1.33. Initial distance was 9.95. You can use this method to find the value of time also if you want to, using the horizontal component. So what will be the rebound velocity? From here, it is 4.6. Then what is your change in momentum? mv minus mu. Mass is given to us. Initial velocity is 7.5. Final velocity is 4.6, but in the negative direction. तो उसको हम माइनस में ही लिखेंगे. And we simplify that. Minus minus multiply becomes plus. Multiply that and you will get the value of change in momentum. If they tell us the time, we can also find out the value of velocity, time of force. Okay, one more question. Again, this is a projectile motion. They have given us initial velocity v is at 60 degrees. They have not given us the velocity, but they have given us the initial vertical velocity, which is 5.9 here. So we know that initial vertical velocity is 5.9. But we do not know the value of velocity of the object. But we know that it reaches the maximum height in 0.6 seconds. So this information is from the graph. Yeah, it will be the maximum height. It will be the area under the graph. But before that, continue the time until the ball reaches B. It will be a straight line because the gradient is acceleration and gradient is always constant. Maximum height reached, area under the graph, 5.9 is the height, zero point 0.6 is the base. The maximum height comes out to 1.8 meter. Then they ask us, what is your horizontal component velocity? We know vertical component, and we also know that vertical component is 5.9, angle is 60. We have to find V horizontal, and we can also find out the value of V because we have to find the value of maximum kinetic energy, which is initial kinetic energy. So we have to find the value of V here as well. For horizontal velocity, I can straightway use tan 60. And from here, horizontal velocity comes out to 3.4. I want to find out maximum kinetic energy. For that, I will need V, initial velocity. So I can use sine theta, and my velocity V comes out to be 6.8. And if I have velocity V 6.8, my maximum kinetic energy will be. So before that, we have also asked to draw the horizontal component, वो हमने पहले draw कर लिया है. So horizontal velocity will be a straight line at 3.4. We can find out the value of horizontal velocity by using this method by finding first V and then use that for finding horizontal velocity as well. ये भी हम use कर सकते हैं. Maximum kinetic energy will be half mv square, and it comes out to be 15 joules. Maximum potential energy will be mgh. H is 1.8 meters. And you can see here that these values are not equal because at the maximum height, the particle must have possessed some kinetic energy because of horizontal component of the velocity.